Have you ever wondered if something that feels intimate could also be unsafe? Not because of rumors or myths, but because no one ever really explains the facts. I'm Dr. Sophie Morgan, a board-certified urologist with over 10 years of experience helping men restore vitality, circulation, and confidence naturally. And today, we're going to talk about one of the most whispered questions in men's health, one that many of my patients have wanted to ask but never dared to say out loud. They'll lean forward in my office, lower their voices, and finally whisper, "Doctor, is it actually safe to swallow vaginal fluids during oral intimacy?" It's the kind of question that sounds simple, but carries layers of worry, curiosity, and even guilt. Some men assume it's unhealthy. Others wonder if it's strange to even think about it. And yet these private concerns quietly shape confidence, trust, and connection in a relationship. Here's the truth. Intimacy should never feel confusing or shameful. When you understand the science of the human body, what once felt awkward becomes something you can talk about openly with calm respect and confidence. Before we dive in, I want to know, where are you watching from today? Type your city or country in the comments. I love seeing this community of men from the United States, Philippines, South Africa, Ireland, and Tanzania coming together to reclaim their vitality. Now, let me ask you something personal. Have you ever held back during intimacy because of worry about safety, smell, or taste? Type yes or no in the comments, because what I'm about to share might completely change how you think about this. Here's what shocked me most after 10 years of working with men over 50. It's not the biology that creates the problem. It's the silence, the assumptions, the myths that have been repeated so many times they feel like facts. And there's one myth in particular, myth number 3, that 90% of men get completely backwards. I'll reveal exactly what it is at the 5-minute mark. But I need you to understand the first 2 myths first because they set up everything. Let's start with the science most men never learned. Vaginal fluids are not dirty. They're one of nature's most brilliant protective systems, created by the female body to guard delicate tissue, prevent infection, and make intimacy comfortable for both partners. According to research from the Cleveland Clinic and the Mayo Clinic, healthy vaginal lubrication is mostly water, combined with amino acids, enzymes, and natural protective compounds. Here's the analogy that makes it click. Just as your saliva keeps your mouth clean and protected, her natural fluids do the same for the reproductive system. They balance pH, control bacteria, and even contain lactobacillus, the same beneficial bacteria found in yogurt and probiotics. What you may have feared as risky is actually a sign of health. But here's where confusion starts destroying intimacy. And this is the part that surprised me most in my entire career. The real danger isn't in the fluids themselves. It's in how men react to normal, natural variations. Because when you don't understand what's normal, every small change feels like a warning sign. Let me give you myth number 1 right now. Myth number 1. Any change in taste or smell means something is medically wrong. That's false. Listen carefully. Just like your sweat changes after garlic or coffee, just like your breath changes after wine or exercise, the same is true for vaginal fluids. Diet matters, hydration matters, hormones matter, stress matters. If your partner had coffee, spices, or alcohol, the scent can shift slightly. If she's well hydrated and eats more fruit, it can taste lighter, almost sweet. The Cleveland Clinic confirms that slight pH changes from medication, stress, or even her menstrual cycle are completely normal. Only a strong, foul odor with visible irritation signals a problem. And even then, it's usually a simple imbalance, easily treated. But here's what men do instead. They panic. They pull back. They avoid intimacy entirely. And that reaction does more damage than any biological factor ever could. Because when your partner senses judgment, her body responds. Trust drops, comfort drops, and the connection you're trying to protect starts to fracture. Quick question. If you've ever worried about this, type the number 1 in the comments. If you think I'm making this too complicated, type 0. I want to know where you stand. Now, here's myth number 2. And this one is dangerous because it sounds so logical. Some men think, well, if it's natural and healthy, it must be 100% safe no matter what. And that's where things get nuanced. While vaginal fluids are protective in a healthy partner, they can still transmit infections if either partner carries one. Diseases like chlamydia, gonorrhea, herpes, or HIV can spread through oral contact, though the risk is significantly lower than other forms of intimacy. But here's what no doctor will tell you, and it's critical. The biggest risk factor isn't the act itself, it's the silence before it. Men who assume, who avoid testing, who think bringing up health will ruin the mood, those are the men who end up in my office months later dealing with preventable situations. And that connects directly to myth number 3, the one I promised you at the beginning. Are you ready? Because this is the myth that keeps men trapped in fear, even when their partner is perfectly healthy. Here it is. Most men believe that asking about health testing or talking about hygiene is a sign of mistrust, that it's awkward, unromantic, that it kills intimacy before it even starts. Gentlemen, that belief is destroying relationships. Real confidence doesn't come from pretending everything is fine. It comes from knowing. And here's the truth that changes everything. Couples who get tested together, who talk openly about comfort and safety, report higher trust, deeper connection, and more satisfying intimacy than couples who stay silent. It's not unromantic. It's the foundation of real intimacy. Let me tell you about Marcus. He was 62, divorced after 28 years, re-entering dating for the first time in decades. He came to me anxious, saying, "Doctor, I met someone wonderful, but how do I bring up testing without making her think I don't trust her?" I told him exactly what I'm telling you. You say, "I care about both of us feeling safe and confident. Would you be open to getting tested together?" Marcus was terrified, but he did it. And his partner's response? She looked at him with relief and said, "Thank you for being the first man mature enough to ask me that. That's when I knew you were different." That conversation didn't kill the spark, it ignited it. Now, remember that question I asked you at the very beginning about whether you've ever held back because of worry? This is why it matters. Because fear isn't just about biology. It's about the stories we tell ourselves, the assumptions we make, the conversations we avoid. And the one thing that surprised me most in 10 years of practice is this. The men who struggle the most aren't the ones with medical issues. They're the ones who suffer in silence. If you think communication is the key to safety, type 3 in the comments. If you think testing and hygiene matter more, type 4. Let me see what resonates. So how do you actually have these conversations without awkwardness? Here's the framework. First, timing. Don't bring it up during intimacy. Choose a calm, connected moment. Over coffee, during a walk, in bed, but before things heat up. Second, language. Lead with care, not suspicion. Instead of, "Have you been tested?" say, "I want us both to feel completely comfortable. Can we talk about getting tested together?" That shift changes everything. Third, make hygiene a shared ritual, not a chore. Showering together before intimacy isn't just about cleanliness. It's about presence, slowing down, showing your partner that the experience matters, not just the outcome. And here's the bonus most men overlook. Hydration directly affects comfort. When your partner drinks enough water, her natural lubrication becomes smoother, lighter, more balanced. The same is true for you. Good hydration improves circulation, which impacts sensitivity and performance. Fruits like pineapple, strawberries, and citrus may enhance scent and taste naturally because of their antioxidant content and lower sulfur levels. So sharing a smoothie before intimacy isn't just thoughtful, it's biological preparation. But here's where it all comes together. And this is the story that shows what happens when understanding replaces fear. Let me tell you about Thomas. He was 59, married for 32 years. He loved his wife deeply, but they'd stopped being intimate for nearly 3 years. Not because of anger or resentment, but because Thomas had developed quiet fears from things he'd read online. He worried that oral intimacy might be unsafe. That worry turned into avoidance, and avoidance turned into emotional distance. His wife thought he'd lost attraction to her. She stopped initiating. They lived like roommates. When Thomas finally came to see me, his hands were shaking. He said, "Doctor, I feel like I've lost something so basic, something human." We talked for an hour about biology, about myths, about communication. And I saw something shift in his eyes. Relief, understanding, hope. Within 2 weeks, Thomas had a conversation with his wife he'd been avoiding for years. He explained his fears. She cried, not from hurt, but from relief that it wasn't about her. They started rebuilding intimacy slowly. Communication first. Shared showers. Small moments of vulnerability. 3 months later, he sent me a text. Dr. Morgan, thank you. I didn't just get my intimacy back, I got my best friend back. This is what I want you to understand. Intimacy isn't just physical. It's emotional, psychological. It's the space where you can be completely yourself, completely vulnerable, and completely safe. Think of it like breathing. You don't analyze every inhale. You don't question every exhale. It's natural, rhythmic, essential. But when fear enters, you hold your breath. You tense. You lose the rhythm. Fear makes men hold their breath emotionally. But when you replace fear with understanding, you exhale fully, freely, confidently. So here's my challenge for you tonight. If you're in a relationship, ask your partner one honest question you've been avoiding. Maybe it's about health. Maybe it's about what she needs to feel safe. Maybe it's just, how can I make you feel more loved? If you're single, reflect on how you can bring more openness, more honesty, more emotional courage into your next relationship. You'll be stunned how quickly fear disappears when communication takes its place. What did you learn today? The biology, the communication, the mindset? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. Make sure to like this video because every click helps another man find shame-free, medically accurate information about intimacy. Subscribe if you haven't already because we talk about real issues here. Circulation, vitality, confidence, and everything that keeps you strong and connected for decades. And remember this, you are not too old to learn. You are not too old to feel. You are not too old to connect deeply with another human being. Age doesn't diminish intimacy, it deepens it. Because you've earned the wisdom to know that connection matters more than performance. I'm Dr. Sophie Morgan, reminding you that your health is your confidence is your connection, and passion has no expiration date. Take care of yourself, take care of your partner, and I'll see you in the next video.